years. Let's take a peek at Mississippi State and Arkansas, shall we? Bulldogs and the Hogs on the hill in Fayetteville at Razorback Stadium. 3 o'clock, SEC Network. Arkansas a 5-point favorite. The total in this game, 56, which seems low. But we'll see. Bulldogs 5-3, 3-2 in the SEC. Arkansas 5-3, but just 1-3 in Southeastern Conference play. Give me a first glance observation, hey Dad.
You know, when you look at Arkansas defensively and you look at their numbers against the pass and you think, oh, they're really good. But, man, they have not played good passing teams this year. The best one they played is Ole Miss, and Ole Miss lit them up for over 300 yards. And then you combine that with they're not very good against the run. So they're sort of I don't want to say paper tiger defensively, but their numbers are sort of skewed. I'll just put it that way. And so for Mississippi State, you know, if they can sort of do the things they did last week, if they can run the football the way they did last week, I think they have an opportunity to be good in this game offensively. And then on the other side of the ball, what Arkansas wants to do sort of plays into State's hands because they like to run the football a lot, and State's really good at stopping the run. You know, obviously Treylon Burks is a big concern. That guy's a really good receiver. But between Emerson and Forbes, you feel like you can do okay against him. I feel like KJ Jefferson will be a guy who wants to play well against Mississippi State, school that recruited him and went with Garrett Trader instead of him. And, you know, Mississippi kid's always going to want to do well against his home state teams. But if State can limit them in the running game the way they've limited basically everybody except Alabama, I think it's going to be tough for Arkansas to win. So this is a game where on paper it looks like State should be favored, but they're not.
Alabama notwithstanding, because they're on a different plane of athleticism, Arkansas is the most balanced team that State will have played this year. And maybe the numbers don't show that, but I'm talking about capability of balance. This is the best combination of quarterback, wide receiver, offensive line, running game that they have played against besides Alabama this season. Kentucky's got a good running game. You could probably argue it's better than Arkansas's, but they don't have the vertical threat to go with it. And a dual threat quarterback, one of which runs like a refrigerator also. So I'm very curious to see how State handles this because, again, outside of Alabama, they have not played a team that's this capably balanced of that of Arkansas.
Arkansas, middle of the pack scoring offense in the SEC at 33 points per game. Mississippi State scoring 28. That's up from where they were going into last week's game, where they were like 24.5, and so that average is ticking up a little bit.
Yeah.
Scoring defense, Arkansas is giving up 24 a game. Mississippi State's giving up 25 a game. So pretty comparable in that.
And both teams have like a big outlier in there. They gave up 49 to Alabama and gave up 53 to or whatever it was to Ole Miss. So.
Yeah, 52 to Ole Miss.
Yeah.
In the running game, Arkansas is now second in the SEC, averaging 249 yards per game. Mississippi State, better than they were a week ago, but still dead last at 54 yards per game. But
well, they're moving on up.
In terms of rushing defense, Mississippi State, third in the SEC, giving up just 89 yards per game. Arkansas giving up 167 per game on the ground.
Leach going to whip out the wishbone for this one. Let's go.
Probably not.
No.
I don't think, anyway. Do you?
No, I haven't heard any rumblings.
Mississippi State leading the SEC at 371 yards per game through the air. Arkansas, 216. Passing defense. Arkansas, second in the SEC. They're giving up just 167.5 yards per game. And Mississippi State at 223. In those passing defense numbers for Arkansas, and Borky alluded to this a second ago, or maybe you did, hey, Dad.
I did.
Haven't faced a bunch of great passing teams. Rice, Texas, but they held Texas to 21. And really kept Bijan Robinson in check that day.
Yeah.
Georgia Southern, Texas A&M struggled mightily throwing the football.
Mm-hmm.
Matt Corral had a big day.
Yeah.
Bo Nix had a big day throwing the football.
He did. He had a good day.
And then there was Arkansas Pine Bluff.
Right. So not exactly a murderer's row of pass offense here.
And then you go to the game from a year ago. Will Rogers is a very different quarterback. Did he start against Arkansas last year?
No, Costello played the whole game.
That's right.
It was game 2. Remember, State was coming off that big win over LSU.
Oh, that's right.
Yeah, and early pick 6 and just couldn't get anything going. Like Kylan Hill got hurt on, I think, the third play of the game, and they didn't have anything.
Yeah. So Will Rogers has never faced Barry Odom's defense.
No.
Have we gotten to the point yet where Will Rogers has seen enough different defensive styles and coverages and opportunities to confuse him that we think he's okay regardless of what he sees defensively?
I think so. I mean, obviously Odom is sort of the godfather of this kind of zone coverage, but I mean, this is his 15th start. So we're talking about a guy, under normal circumstances, this would be the second start or the third start of his sophomore year. At that point, you would say he's been, if he's taken every snap the way Will Rogers has, that he's been through enough and he's seen enough that you trust him out there reading coverages. So no, I think Rogers will be fine from, a recognition standpoint. It's just going to be, is he able to take what the defense gives him? If you go back and watch last year's game, that's what Costello's problem was unwilling to take what the defense gave him. Constantly tried to fit the ball into tighter windows down the field rather than just taking the short dump-offs. And that was a game where State fans got incredibly frustrated because he refused to run. A lot of times he would roll out, he'd have some running room, and he refused to take off. Rogers has shown the ability to at least, when he gets outside the pocket or if things break down, he'll at least make an attempt to run. And if you're going to drop 8, there's going to be opportunities for Rogers to make some plays with his legs.
I wonder what the home crowd is going to be like. Razorback Stadium seats 70,000, 74,000, something like that. There was one game circled on the Arkansas schedule this year, and it was Texas. And the build-up to that game was unbelievable, and the atmosphere was incredible. And that Arkansas crowd played a huge role in Arkansas's win over Texas. 3 o'clock, Saturday afternoon, 63 degrees. My guess is it's not a deal where every single seat is full, but surely that's a good crowd.
Feels like it, yeah.
And
it's a big game.
It's a big game for both teams.